Hello, and welcome to this episode of Inspiring Conversations. I'm Katie Woods, Ecosystem Development Executive for Strathclyde Inspire, and today I'm joined by Sarah Jardine. Sarah is the Chief Executive Officer at retinal imaging company Epipole. She studied laser physics and optoelectronics here at Strathclyde in 1992. Beginning her career as laser engineer, she has roughly 20 years' experience in various manufacturing roles at industry-leading retinal imaging company Optos. She was then appointed as COO of the National Manufacturing Institute in 2020 before joining Epipole in 2022. So hi Sarah, it's so nice to be joined with you today. Thank you for coming. We're looking forward to finding out a bit more about yourself, your background and your career journey to date.
Thank you for inviting me. It's lovely to be here.
Can you just give us a bit of an overview of your background, what led you to pursuing a career in science and manufacturing, and how you got to where you are today?
Okay, so the inspiring me to follow a career in science was actually a man called Ivan Ruddock, who used to be a lecturer here at Strathclyde. And I came in 1988 to an open night for the physics department, and he was in the lab leaping about, being really excited about lasers, and I was like, oh my God, I need to do that. So that kind of kick-started that, and I was always encouraged by my parents to just pursue whatever I wanted to pursue, to do whatever I wanted to do. And I guess in those days it was a bit unusual for girls to do physics, to do science, but I just found it was really exciting, really engaging. So I came to Strathclyde in 1988 and I graduated in 1992. After that, I went to Heriot-Watt University. I did a Masters in Laser Engineering, and then I spent the first sort of 7 years of my career in the defence industry. So I went to work for Thales Optronics in Glasgow, and I did target designator and laser rangefinder design and manufacture. And it was when I went into the manufacturing side of that organisation, I thought, I found what I want to do. Right? I didn't realise you could have a career making things. And I grew up on a diet of Tomorrow's World and Blue Peter, right? So I made things all the time, and I was interested in new technologies. And when I went into the manufacturing side at Thales, I really thought, I found my place. I want to make more than one of something. I want to be good at making things. And that sort of kick-started the whole journey into manufacturing.
Gosh, that's fascinating. And I just love to hear as well how often it's just like one lecturer, often it can be a teacher as well at school, that can just really like spark something in you that then leads you forward. And obviously having your parents' support as well in terms of you can do what you want. That's just refreshing and really, really lovely. Well, thank you so much. That's fascinating. So I know that you're an ambassador for science and a really strong supporter as well of STEM. And although diversity, we've seen it, it is improving, I would say it's still very much a male-dominated field.
Yep.
So why do you think it's so important to have women represented in STEM, and how can we continue to improve this and get this better?
Yeah, so, I think diversity of thought, diversity of opinion and experience is really important. And we get that by having everybody able to become involved in these different areas. And I think, the world's changed by your actions, not by your opinions, okay? So it's really easy to say, yes, we should have more women. Yes, we should have more diversity of race or religion or gender. But actually, we have to get out and do that. And how to inspire other young people, it seems quite trite to say you can't be what you can't see. But I didn't really understand for a long time what a supportive upbringing I'd had, right? I didn't understand that everybody's families weren't saying, you go and do what you want to do, that a lot of people had a very clear vision of what their children should be or what they should do, and that wasn't my experience. And so once I understood that, I thought, well, they just need exposure to see these different experiences, to see that you can be a mum and work full-time, to see that you can be a woman in these leadership roles within these very technical organisations. And so actually doing things like this is what's important, right? Is being visible and becoming involved with all these programmes that help to encourage everybody to pursue a career in STEM subjects.
Absolutely. And I think that's a very, very good point you make about the action. It's about taking action rather than just always giving an opinion about it. Did you have a particular, role model or anyone that you looked up to that was female while you were going through your career? Or are you kind of like a trailblazer in that sense?
So I would never ever describe myself as a trailblazer, but I think so. When I first went to work at Thales, the chief laser engineer was a woman. Her name was Anne Easton, and she was so already within that organisation that it was normal for someone to have a role like that. And there were lots of women in technical roles. It was quite different when I went to Optos, because there weren't that many women and really very few women engineers within that environment. But today that's very different. And I guess that's just about, sometimes it's about how roles are advertised. So when I said it's about the actions that we take, I think, writing adverts that make it open and inclusive for women, that encourage women to apply for those roles, is really important as well. So I think just taking those type of actions and having Anne Easton obviously as a role model when I started out was obviously really impactful as well, just to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great answer and really fascinating. So thank you so much. The theme for this year, so International Women's Day is coming up, and the theme for this year is Inspire Inclusion. So how do you think we can inspire others to value women's inclusion and forge that more kind of inclusive world for women? I know you've touched on that slightly in terms of how they advertise jobs, but anything further you'd like to discuss?
I think just having more people do this type of thing, to talk about it, to go out into schools and really talk to young people. So I've got 3 nieces, and so I've been to their school a few times for things like STEM week or science week, that kind of thing, and talk to them about my job, and talk to them about all sorts of different jobs. I think, when a lot of times when we think about scientists or engineers, we have a very fixed view of what that looks like. Yeah. And so I talk to them about engineers solve the problems of the world. That's what they do, right? So is there a problem that you would like to solve in your family or whatever, to try and understand that is that problem solving ability. That's what engineers do. My youngest niece is she's 12, and she's wanted to be an engineer for as long as I can remember. And, she's got it that nobody will give her an internship at the age of 12. So we'll need to. And I said to her, you really need to be about 16. And she's like, but Aunt Sarah, I could be the youngest one. So, but I think it's that kind of thing. Like, young people want to solve problems. They see the complex problems that we have to solve in the world today, and they want to solve problems. Helping them to understand that being an engineer helps you solve those problems, I think, will encourage more young people to do it, and more women to go into that area.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that drive and enthusiasm. That's what we need more.
I'll be the youngest one. It's brilliant.
That's fantastic. And you're a fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, which is incredible and such an honour, I'm sure, for you. And through that, you mentioned in that article that you love to mentor young women. Is there anything you'd like to kind of tell us about that, or any specific women that you're mentoring that you think are worth highlighting?
Of course. So I guess one of them that I'm immensely proud of is a young lady called Emma. I met Emma through the Career Ready programme, which is, preparing young people for the world of work. And when I met Emma, she changed her mind every single week about what she wanted to do. And I would go away and research those things, and she'd be like, right, I want to be a pastry chef. And then I'm going, right, okay, I'll go and work out how to help her do that. And then next week she'll come in and she'll go, I want to be a paramedic now. Right. And it's like, oh, right. But I think it was just, we talked a lot about the opportunities, things that you could do, what's out there in the world, and helping her to navigate some of that. And she actually went on to do an apprenticeship in mechanical engineering. So she just graduated a few weeks ago. I was at her graduation, which was lovely. And she's such a different young woman from the one that I met that was shy and wouldn't really speak. She's really outgoing. She's confident in herself, in her own opinions. But the thing that Emma has is, she's keen to learn. She doesn't want to stop learning. It just turns out the school wasn't the right place for her to do that. Going to college, working at the same time, being involved with an organisation, So she did her apprenticeship at Optos, and that will change. And I think it's all that kind of thing. It's understanding what's right for those young people. I mentor another young woman who's, she's graduated, she's part of the way through her career, and we chat and I actually know her. I'm so old. I remember her being born because I know her dad. I worked for her dad at one point. So, I help her sort of understand how to navigate certain things. And we literally just talk about some of the challenges that she's having and how to solve some of those. And I think before I started mentoring young women, I actually thought you had to have all the answers. When you don't, you have to help them work out what the answer is. And that's a journey that you go on together. And I get so much from doing those things because they ask me hard questions. How would you do this? What would you do? And it's like, I actually don't know. Let's chat about that. Let's talk about it together. So it's not about it's not a technical mentor for technical answers. It's more about how to navigate that journey through the workplace, how to approach certain things if they've tried something to resolve a problem and that's not worked. What other strategies could they use? And it's fascinating, and I love doing it. I really do, because they inspire me to go on to do other things as well.
So it's like a two-way thing. Yeah. It must just be so rewarding as well to see their journeys and their careers, and knowing that you've supported a part of that and seen them grow and develop. Yeah, and that's just and fantastic.
Yeah, and I had the privilege of having a couple of really good mentors during my career, and so I think that it's just that giving back. I understand what I got from that. And what they gave to me, they gave me confidence and in myself, and they gave me the opportunity to try stuff, particularly Tom Motta, who was my boss for a good few years. He gave me the opportunity to try stuff and fail, and that actually is okay. He gave me an environment where failure was allowed, but we had to, he used to say, if we're not winning, we're learning, right? So he gave me that environment, and I think that type of environment helps you be more confident and work out what you want to do.
That's a fantastic answer, and that leads us on so well to what my next question was, which is that every successful entrepreneur experiences failure in some shape or form. We often talk about the importance of resilience here at Strathclyde and actively encourage our staff and students to have that sort of self-belief to be able to overcome setbacks, which everyone will experience at some point. Can you share with us today your biggest setback and what you kind of took away and learned from that experience and how it maybe built your own resilience?
Yeah, and I agree. Resilience is really important, right? Understanding that whatever the problem is, it can be solved, right? You might not know the answer today, but you can actually, you can solve it. It helps you in your professional life and also in your personal life.
Yeah.
So I think, and I've had lots of failures. There's been loads of things that don't go well. I mean, I think, when I was just starting out, for example, and I was at at Talis, one Friday afternoon, I destroyed 2 laser slabs, and they were 30 grand each. So when I left there, actually, the ops director totted up a list of all the costs of all the things that I had broken, right? And that was like, I was like, oh, I can't believe I've just done that. And I was in this lab on my own, and, it'd all gone wrong, clearly. And I came up the stairs and I talked to my boss, and I was like, oh, I've just broken those 2 slabs. And he just looked at me and said, we're doing stuff that's really difficult that no one else does.
Yeah.
So this type of thing is bound to happen. Now, he wasn't like, don't worry about don't worry about it at all, Sarah, but he was just like, this stuff happens. And I think being able to work in that type of environment where, yes, this stuff happens, so how do we recover from it? Understanding that you've got the support of other people for those things is really important. But I think one of the biggest lessons I learned, and I started to think about it when I was at a conference once, listening to a guy talk about it, is we always focus on the things that don't work, and how do we learn from those, right? No one ever questions the good news, right? So I think if something is working better than you anticipated, better than the model, better than whatever result you thought you were going to get, you should also question that, because they're, when it doesn't work, you're forced to look at it. So when somebody's working, we just kind of carry on going, that's great, that worked even better than I thought it would. Understanding why it worked better is also really important, because then you can apply that thinking to the next time you're doing something like that. So I think, question the good news as well as the bad news would be my advice in those areas.
I think that is fantastic. And also probably the first time I've ever heard quite refreshing and positive.
Okay.
Approaching that. So thank you. That was fantastic. And just thinking back to your career overall, because it's been 30 plus years you've been working at. Yeah. What's kind of one lesson your career has taught you that you think everyone should have to learn at some point in their own careers?
That's a really good question. I think failing faster, right? So don't take forever to find out something doesn't work. Have the flexibility to fail faster, to learn from it and to move on, right? And it's really difficult. And I found some of that stuff difficult in a leadership role where you're giving other people the opportunity to learn things, and you have to, when something goes wrong, you have to smile and say, thank you for showing me that opportunity for improvement, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that's really important, to be able to foster that type of environment, and really fail faster would be my motto.
You were also named the University of Strathclyde's Alumna of the Year in 2018. So how did that make you feel, and what impact, if any, did that have on influencing your journey?
I mean, I was really surprised. I was delighted. I was really surprised to be nominated. I didn't think that happened to people like me, right? So people who are not really academic, because I wasn't the most academic student when I was here. I struggled to keep up. Yeah. And I had to work really, really hard in order to keep up with my peers. So I didn't really think, and I didn't think I'd done anything really amazing to deserve something like that. But I was really delighted and very excited, and then also really nervous when I realised I had to stand up in front of the whole of the graduation ceremony and talk about something that was relevant to those young people who were graduating that day. But it was such an honour and such a lovely thing to have. And I think actually what that did was that helped me to understand that maybe I did have something to say. I've got lots of words, right, and can chat for Scotland, but I think it made me realise that maybe I did have something to say and something to offer. Yeah. And it was really on the back of that I really started doing mentoring, and thinking that, yes, I do have something to offer young people, in terms of helping them, decide or progress through their journey. So it was really great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That sounds amazing, and what a lovely honour as well to have. And from that, in 2020, you became the COO of the National Manufacturing Institute of Scotland. Can you just tell us a bit about what that's like, what it's been like being involved in that? I mean, I've visited the building myself, and it is absolutely incredible. And so much exciting work went on there, but can you share anything with us?
Oh, I love that. So I had been, prior to joining the National Manufacturing Institute, I had been chair of the Scottish Manufacturing Advisory Service. And, I said earlier on how much I love manufacturing. And so I had heard about the sort of vision for a National Manufacturing Institute, and also through discussions with the board, various people would come and present to us and talk to us. And I was just like, why would you not want to be involved with that, right? Why? That would be madness. If you love making stuff, then why would you not want to be involved with that? So, and I was lucky enough to interview for the position and to be offered that position, and it was a real honour. It's an honour to work with such a great bunch of people, but a diverse bunch of people, because there's lots of stakeholders within the National Manufacturing Institute. Obviously, is operated by University of Strathclyde, but you've got Scottish Government. So it was absolutely fantastic to be involved with that right from the start, and to watch that building just sprout up the ground. And I need to be really careful, because it's so much more than that building. And I spent 2 years telling people that, right? Yeah. National Manufacturing Institute is so much more than just that building. That's the flagship, that's the beacon, if you like. But all of the work that goes on round about that. And I loved hearing all of the case studies and the small companies that they worked with and the large companies that they worked with, and how they brought those small companies and big companies together to do some really incredible things and move a lot of manufacturing processes and techniques forward. And you can see all those case studies in the new building itself. But it was just, I learned about other types of manufacturing too, like, you know, big heavy aircraft manufacturing. Like, there's big furnaces that you have to actually put a big silver suit on to be able to take things in and out. I'd never seen anything like that before either, so I just had my total geek on, you know, going like, oh, look at that, look at this, and you know, and it was like, it's so inspiring. It really is so inspiring. So I loved my time at National Manufacturing Institute.
Fantastic. And can you tell me the fun fact about the building when you look at it on the side?
So when you look at it from the side, it looks like the Jaggy factory icon that you would use when you do value stream mapping, which I love.
I think that's a fantastic fact.
I think that's just design, just perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. And then now, just to bring it right up to the current day, you're currently CEO of epipole.
Yes.
What are your kind of like key responsibilities, or how are you going to kind of bring that organisation forward? Have you got big plans? I imagine you're not someone who likes to sit still. You're probably always wanting to constantly improve and be really ambitious.
Yeah.
So do like
I do. I always have big plans, right? Because if you're going to have plans, they might as well be massive. So epipole is at a really interesting stage right now. We did some work from the start of last year to bring out some improvements for our products. So we make a handheld retinal camera, so it looks at the back of your eye, and so we made some big improvements. We launched that on the 1st of October. So we're really just sort of almost 6 months into selling that new product, and we've got plans to sell lots of them this year. We're just perfecting our commercial strategy for this year, and that's going to go out into the world, and hopefully our vision, where there's an eye exam, there's an epicam. Right, so that's what we want to see. But we've obviously got also a number of other R&D plans. So we're thinking about, whilst we've got a team out selling this product that we make just now, we've got another group of people working on how to what's next, you know, what's coming out next. And so that in the next few months you'll see another imaging mode for that, and you know, some other improvements as we go through the year. So it's all go, and I love it. It's so small. So when I went to Optos, it was a small company. My employee number at Optos was 42, and that was global. You know, we have 8 people in epipole right now, so it's a very small company. It's maybe more like being a gang leader than a CEO. But what I love about that is that we have these really great discussions every day. We're just in the office, everybody's involved, and I think that's what makes it so exciting, is that absolutely everybody can be involved. And it probably brings us back to what we've talked about at the beginning, which is like diversity of thought, diversity of experience. You know, when you've got sales guys, marketing people, finance team, manufacturing team and R&D team all working on what's the next thing, what's the next function or imaging modality that we're going to release, everybody has an input, and they all get to see those things being you know, come out in a product, and they think, I had a part of that. And when it's a small team like that, everybody needs to feel like they're driving the company forward. Everybody has to help drive the company forward. It's brilliant, and I can't wait to see what we do in the next year or two with that year as well.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Gosh, you've had an incredible career.
Thank you.
And it's been absolutely fascinating just to hear all about it and hear from you. And it's just been a brilliant, brilliant podcast. So thank you so much. I want to end on the final note, which is, if you were to give any young women out there who are interested in getting involved in STEM just like a confidence boost to say go for it. I know we talked about like failing forward and all these things, but like, what would you say?
I would say, in a world where you can be anything, just be yourself. I have been myself my whole career, and I've had bosses who have encouraged me to be myself and bring myself to work. Just be you. Find the thing that you're passionate about. You're going to be doing it for a long time. find the thing that you're passionate about and just be yourself. You'll be successful. And if they want any help, they will know where to find me.
On that note, that is a fantastic note to end on. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I really, really enjoyed talking to you and learning about your career. I'm feeling really inspired and excited, so I'm sure that will emulate in this podcast. So thank you for your time, genuinely. And that's it for this episode of Inspiring Conversations. Thank you for joining us, and remember to hit the subscribe or the follow button on whichever platform you're using. Please do tune in next month when we're going to be joined by another inspiring entrepreneurial leader. Thank you.